It's Tuesday, the 8th of August. My name is Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel, and more information has come to light from the tragic mid-air collision of the two helicopters in Southern California the other day. The flags are at half-mast here at the CalFire Air Attack Base in Grass Valley, California for Division Chief Josh Bischoff, Captain Tim Rodriguez, and pilot Tony Sousa, who lost their lives in that mid-air collision. The information that I'm getting is that these were two contract ships, the Siller helicopter and the 407. And the main point I want to make is that there is no CalFire contract requirement for these contract ships to have on board TCAS, or Traffic Collision Avoidance Systems. This is a battle I've been fighting my whole career. It started back in my Air Force days in the 141. I lost my co-pilot to a mid-air collision off the coast of Africa, you may remember, many years ago in a C-141. Back in those days, our 141 aircraft did not have TCAS capability. That family and the rest of us lobbied hard, and we finally got TCAS equipment in Air Force transport aircraft, equipment that the airliners have had for years, as required by FAR Part 121. Then I got out and got into the Forest Service with the U.S. Forest Service lead plane program, and in fact I was taking over the job of the guy who lost his life in a mid-air collision with the tanker in Ramona, California while in the pattern. They had no TCAS at that time either. By the time I got on board to replace him in that job, we had TCAS in our Baron aircraft. But none of the rest of the aircraft in the fixed-wing fleet of air tankers had TCAS. We fought long and hard and lobbied, and finally, after a lot of resistance, even from the crews themselves, got TCAS installed in the fixed-wing air tanker program. Now this disaster hits with the loss of these three men and the two helicopters, and I've come to find out that to this day there is still no CalFire requirement in the contract for contract ships to have TCAS on board. This traffic collision avoidance system would have been the last line of defense that could have prevented this tragic mid-air collision.
So what was the nature of this dispatch? Why were there two helicopters dispatched to such a small fire? This basically was a training mission for Captain Tim Rodriguez, who just recently came on board to be trained up as a HELCO, or helicopter coordinator, being trained by Assistant Chief Josh Bischoff. So the Sikorsky Sky Crane was initial attack qualified. He could have gone on and taken care of this by himself, but they needed to get the valuable training time in for Tim. And the air attack, the OV-10, I believe was busy with another fire and thus was delayed getting to this particular incident. So I believe that these two helicopters were the first on the scene. Now, it's not clear at this time whether the Bell 407 Helco aircraft had TCAS on board, but it has been confirmed that the Siller aircraft did not have TCAS on board, nor was it required by contract. In order for TCAS to work most effectively, all the aircraft involved should have TCAS on board the aircraft. And as you can tell, ADSB is simply not reliable enough, especially at these low altitudes.
So lobby your local representatives here at the state level. Governor Newsom, if you're listening, you got to get some folks on your staff that understand this issue. And CalFire, you need to change the requirements in your contract language to require TCAS on board these contract aircraft. I know your latest models of helicopters at CalFire are TCAS equipped, but not so much on these contract ships. We need to get that changed. Thanks so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.